Welcome to Rules of Villainy, episode 88, where three new trading card game players quest and challenge their way to the competitive top tables of Disney Lorcana. I'm Villain Vince, joined as always by my two co-hosts, Villain Andy and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. Skipped right ahead. I figured some of that nonsense. You know what we do here. We talk about the news. We talk about you answer your questions, and we talk about the latest in the metagame. But I'm back here.
Yeah, it feels like a reunion.
I know.
I've been gone for a couple weeks. You've been gone for like a month.
I know. I'm here eating my Tim Tams.
Oh my god,
Tim Tams!
I heard you were giving those out at Fortuna Games tonight, or at least you offered to earlier in the week. I didn't get to make it out.
Yeah,
and now we can't talk if he has a mouthful of Tim Tams, so I'm just gonna vamp here, I guess. How you doing, Andy?
I'm all right. Vince promised me he was gonna eat a fistful of Vegemite. He said he was going to try and outdo JDZ. He says that's a small amount of Vegemite. I can do twice that.
Well,
I did hear him say that.
Let me tell you what, my fellow mates here, as I put on my Oscar Piastri home race and cheese shirt here. Look at that. We got the MasterCard F1 team going on.
Now I feel like I need to put a hat on, and I don't have one readily available. Dang. For audio listeners, everybody's wearing a hat but me, and I feel left out. First day back, and I'm already outcast.
But speaking of Vegemite, I did bring back a little bit of. I brought like a little, the little like jam containers we have here. They make them with Vegemite, and I got one for all of us, so we could all try Vegemite.
Do a Vegemite shot, where we just rip the whole packet.
But why?
To experience
but why?
It's a bonding moment,
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bonding moment. Plus, honestly, I got to bring some culture back to the United States from Australia. And shout out honestly to one of our listeners, Hammond, who made sure that I didn't do a JDZ and a whole spoonful of Vegemite. Actually, did it properly with some butter and some Vegemite, just like a little spread. It goes a long way. You don't. It's not Nutella. You don't finger it.
So,
what?
Now you made me forget.
Yeah,
I had something good. Oh, comment down below rules of Vegemite if you want us all to rip the whole pack of Vegemite on the next episode. Rules of Vegemite in the comments down below.
First episode back, and we're already off the trails here, but that's all right.
That's what we do.
I mean, yeah, that's right. That's what people listen for. They listen for the banter. But I don't know. I think we have a lot to talk about. It's been a while since I've been back, so I don't know what's been going on. But let's get into some Underworld news. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that you can now purchase the what do they call that? The collection starter set, the Stitch edition, and you can also get the Donald Duck collector set, which I didn't get. I almost bought it the other day, but honestly, guys, I spent a lot of money in Australia, so I didn't get that.
I got my first Stitch binder this past Monday night with some in-store credit for running the league at game night, and the very first pack that I opened had an enchanted Elsa in it. My first enchanted of the set. Yeah. So I was super stoked for that. So
speaking of that, you don't have yet the promo, the movie promo from. I do. Oh, you did get the
yeah. Our good friend Mike over there up in Detroit sent it to me with the Mulan promo from Disney World and Kirsten's foil Mickey and Minnie Mat. It was really, really nice of him.
Nice. Yeah. That I didn't get. I didn't get the foil Minnie and Mickey mat. I want to get.
We're working on it. We'll get you one.
I don't know where it is. I think Kirsten has it, but we also pulled an enchanted from our Stitch binder set thing.
Wait, do I need to open the stitch binder like right now and find out?
Apparently they were hot. Ron and Britt, I believe, also got one. It was. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in the Discord.
All right. Well, I'll open it. I'll open all 4 packs on a TikTok later. So that'll actually happen probably before this episode goes. So
yeah.
Well, if you missed it, link in the description.
Yeah. But we also had some tournaments. Andy, you want to talk about one of well, you talk about both of them actually.
Sure. We had DLC Taipei. And the winner of that was Edmund Chu from World Class Cards with Emerald Sapphire.
Yep. Where's Taipei at?
It's in Taiwan. It's the capital of Taiwan, actually, Vince.
Yep.
Was that a quiz?
No. For folks, that's a deep cut to the folks that are on our Discord. So if you don't know, go look at our Discord. And you should join it. But yeah, Ed Chu, this is his second DLC win, right?
It is his second DLC win, and he's also won continent or championships, NA championships last year. So 3x major winner.
Yeah. Did he win Worlds last year?
He did not.
No, he got second.
DKP did. He got second.
Well,
he got second at Worlds though. That's pretty.
Sorry, we're
pretty
just
strong.
I mean, this is why you're winning the poll as who the best Lorcana player is in our. He
created a poll and campaigned for himself.
hey, you know, it required me to put in that many people. Like I didn't have a choice, and so like I just like I don't know to put it. We'll just throw one in. You know, maybe. You know, hey, just throwing it out there.
And then he left off Zach Bivens, who's universally considered the GOAT by the entire Disney Lorcana community. It's a travesty that he's not on that list. Travesty, I say.
And Ed, I believe, was playing the same deck that he was playing, or a very similar deck. I don't know if it was the exact same that he played in Down Under in Melbourne, which was Emerald Sapphire.
Yeah, with
so
the
Ink Geyser, right?
Ink Geyser, the sort of spicy card instead of Bend to My Will, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. We might be talking about that a little bit later. Spoiler alert. We also had another tournament too, as well, a PPG event in Pittsburgh, and that was won by who?
TFM Ben on Amber Steel, the sort of aerial Chief Pow Pow build.
Chief Pow Pow.
Chief Pow Pow.
I remember we got history with Chief Pow Pow, which Heather told me actually how to pronounce it, and I have already forgotten. Powhatan, I think is the right way. But yeah, we did that collaboration with Heath for the 4-drops in the limited event, and I got a lot of grief. In fact, the listeners didn't even get to hear about our talk about the Chief because of the unfortunate hiccup with the recording of our segment of the 4-drops. But the Chief was a big conversation piece for the beginning of our breakdown there, and he's seeing a lot of play now in these Steel song decks.
Yeah. I don't think he's good. Next question.
Next question.
5-5. You have to go through them.
All right.
I know.
All right. I'll give you this. We're not doing an official Quester challenge. I do want to bring that series back though at some point. But here's a Quester challenge for both of you. Will at one of these major events before the next set, there's not another DLC, but there's some other events. Will Blurple actually take it down finally?
I think you're mowing the lawn of Constituents Corner here, but maybe, I don't know. Why? That was a hard transition.
Haven't they already won?
Pow Pow to Blurple. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. We've talked a lot about how Blurple, you know, on this podcast, how Blurple best deck potentially ? And I'm just saying that we have in major tournaments, we haven't seen Blurple actually take down an event.
Yeah, we did. We saw it win. It wasn't Kit,
I'm talking about it in Winter Spell. I don't think it has taken down an event in Winterspell.
Didn't Blurple beat Amethyst Steel just like a month ago? In a big event? An official event? Which event am I forgetting? It wasn't Ghent, because that was just a week or two ago, but maybe I'm crazy.
The CCQ?
I don't know. I thought it was an official
In
Disney Lorcana
Europe.
event, but I can't think it. Didn't it win?
What
What won
Ghent?
Richmond? It wasn't
Well,
Richmond. It was an
Richmond would have
overseas
been
one.
Winter.
Yeah.
What would have been Whispers?
Yeah.
Richmond was
I don't know.
Baja as well.
That's right, because it was a mirror Baja.
Yeah, the person won CCQ in like Spain. It looks like 300 players.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it has the tools. Blurple's just a very consistent deck. So I don't know. I feel like every time we have a conversation on our Discord about the meta, it's constantly evolving. Like everything, every deck, everybody's really hyped on for a little bit, and then it's like, well, on to the next one. And there's nothing that's reigned supreme for entirely like too long in the last couple months, right? It's coming in waves, and it seems like it's been a very, for lack of a better word, healthy game for, just a lot of things shifting into another line of cards or another line of decks, and then when people tech against that, like I thought dogs was like going to be the thing that just took over everything, and then suddenly dogs is kind of fading again. It's, I don't know. I feel like Blurple can.
Or what?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I thought we were still. I was gonna say, and that wraps up Underworld news.
Well, it's a Questor challenge, so
Fair.
but it's fine. We'll move on. We'll leave it dead for now, and we'll move on to Constituents Corner. You want to take it away, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, we got our first question from Martin Karp asking, what is your Disney Mount Rushmore? You can do 2 Disney proper and Pixar, but can't mix. I don't actually I did 2 lists. I did one of Disney and one of Pixar, but you can do 2 Disney proper and Pixar.
No, it's supposed to say you can do 2.
Yeah, so you can do
you can
Disney
do
proper
okay.
and Pixar, but you can't mix.
Okay. Punctuation, Martin. Oh my gosh. Who wants to take it? You want me to start?
Yeah, you start.
All right. For Disney proper, this was tough for me. I chose Snow White. Was just a gimme. The first not live action. The first full length animated film. I put Beauty and the Beast because that was the first Best Picture nominated film. The Little Mermaid and Princess and the Frog.
So are you picking? So I just gotta ask, like, so is your Mount Rushmore then? Are they chiseling Are they chiseling like the?
Yeah,
remember those clamshell VHS tapes we got when we were a kid? Are they they chiseling that into Mount
chiseling
Rushmore?
the actual videotapes? No, I think it'd be Snow White, it'd be Belle, Ariel, and Tiana.
Okay,
I think would accurately represent Disney as of right now. Is if Martin is asking what my favorite movies are, that's a different story. But if we're doing the Mount Rushmore of Disney proper via princesses or just what represents Disney movies, I think those 4 are the ones for me. What about you guys?
All right, Andy, what about you for Disney?
You're gonna make me go. Holy smokes! All right, definitely Aladdin. Like Aladdin's on there. That's easy.
Yeah. And
then like you gotta go probably Zootopia. That's an easy one.
Zootopia, okay.
Zootopia is goated. I'd probably go like Oliver and Company. That one's pretty awesome. I don't really know. Can I say Aladdin again?
Sure. Yeah. Put Aladdin and the genie up there. I'll write Aladdin twice. I can see you very much prepared for that question.
There's a lot of them. I couldn't decide.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it is actually kind of a hard question. I would put, I think I would choose Snow White Not Snow White, Cinderella over Snow White.
Oh, interesting. That's a good call.
Yeah, partly because like the Cinderella's castle is such an
Sure.
iconic vision of Disney.
Yeah.
And then I think I would probably put Moana maybe there, and I think I would put the genie, and then the final spot. That's a hard one. Maybe Encanto.
Oh, nice. Like Mirabelle.
Yeah, like Mirabelle, or maybe even I think that gives a nice little range. That I think would probably be my Disney stuff. I mean, I really have a soft spot for the late 80s, early 90s.
Sure. That's why I think Ariel has to be on there. Is like she just once the Little Mermaid came out is when Disney animation started just the Renaissance period, right? And the reason why I put Snow White was I've been to the Walt Disney Museum out in San Francisco, and there's a whole room dedicated to the Snow White and how impactful it was as a full feature length film, and they even have a deleted scene playing there. I think of the dwarves dancing, a song that's not in the original cut of the movie, playing full time in the middle of the room, and like it was really cool to walk in there and see, being like, wow, this is like historical, but representing the movies of Disney. So I think Cinderella is a good substitute.
I tell you what, I'm gonna pull a page from our current president and be like, "Hey, I want to add one more person to the Mount Rushmore.
Get out of here!"
And it would be Sorcerer Mickey.
Oh, there you go.
From Fantasia. I think that would be a good final representation. But honestly, the reason why I kind of geared towards the later part of Disney, less recency bias, but more because I think what's really nice about some of the later Disney movies is that you don't have like the very stereotypical like prince coming to save the princess.
Sure.
You have these much, I think, more deep stories. You've got a story like Encanto, which I think is like it's like a kind of an immigration and a cultural story. In some ways, Moana is as well, about like being exploring and what does it mean to be independent and also recognize like the community you come from. And so I think those are really cool stories that don't follow the kind of same playbook as say like Snow White or Cinderella, or even to some extent like Beauty and the Beast.
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about Pixar? I went the opposite on Pixar. And did mostly my favorites over what I did with Disney and Disney proper, representing Disney as a whole. For Pixar, I did WALL-E, Toy Story 3, Up, and Coco. How about you guys?
Oh man, I did Toy Story, Bugs Life, Monsters Inc., and then probably The Incredibles. Probably The Incredibles. Could also be Cars.
Yeah, Cars for me, no doubt. Ciao, baby.
Yeah, Vince is gonna say Cars 1, Cars 2, Cars 3, the plane spinoff. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think the plane spinoff is Disney animation, like the television side of Disney animation. I don't think it's Pixar.
People sleep hard on Bugs Life, bro. It's such a good movie.
Ratatouille for sure. I mean, I talk so much about that movie that I adore that movie. Toy Story. So hard to pick a character from Toy Story, but I think if I had to pick one, it would be Lotso Lovenbear. No, I'm just kidding. It would obviously be Woody for sure. Although he does smell like strawberries. Woody.
He does.
Lotso.
I used to have a Lotso. What's up, Andy?
It would be Rex. I have Rex.
Wait, who?
Rex.
T-Rex from Toy Story.
It sounded like he was just saying wreck, and I'm like, Rex. Who is wreck? Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I think.
All right.
Did I do them all? Yeah, I think so.
moving on to Lucas's question. Do you guys play any Disney video games? Because he's wondering, what is your favorite Disney Pixar video game of all time? He loves Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure from PlayStation 2. You guys have any preferences? I can name off a few here. I know Emily's huge into Disney Dreamlight Valley. I haven't played it myself, but it's something I could drain a lot of time into. Our friends over at Inkborn Heroes helped develop Disney Infinity, which I was big into for a while. It's basically the Disney version of Skylanders. So you get a bunch of little toys, put them into the world, and in this sandbox-like game. I had a lot of fun with that in the past. But then you got your Epic Mickeys and your Saturday afternoon cartoon packages with the DuckTales, Chip and Dale, all of those growing up. Aladdin and the Lion King on Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
Those games
Aladdin,
were hard. They were hard.
Aladdin was my favorite.
Yeah.
So crazy. But Aladdin, I think, is one of mine. There's also like the Magic Kingdom Adventure. It was on NES, like the original Nintendo, and it was also hard, but you could like go to different attractions in the park, and each attraction was like a little game, like a little level. So that was a little fun. But probably the last game a Disney game that I really played was on, I think, PlayStation 2, was Toy Story 3. They had a sandbox kind of
video
it
was
game.
good
was
too.
A lot of fun. It was really good. Yeah, so I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Cool.
Next question.
All right. Fiery Tips. Imir asks, if you were cosplaying at a DLC, what would you go as? And I feel like I can cheat and say I've already went as Scar up in Milwaukee. I bought that Scar mask back there. You can see on my wall, and had a lot of fun with that. If I put a lot more effort into something, I would maybe do like a Cusco or something really fun. But it was really easy to just buy a mask and wear my Scar Roosevelt shirt. How about you guys?
Andy?
I have no idea. I mean, like
Rex.
yeah,
but it would be one of those like inflatable costumes. Those inflatable like dinosaur costumes.
If it's like something that I have to actually put together, like I also have to take into account that I'm like really bad at this stuff, right? But if I was told that I had no budget and I was like, a professional was making the costume, maybe I'd go as Mr. Potato Head. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
We got a professional on our team with Julie. She's been to a couple as the Brave Little Tailor Mickey and got a lot of pictures taken and had a lot of fun doing that. We could always get some assistance from her. She's very crafty.
I think if I was like 80 pounds lighter, I would go as Ego from Ratatouille. But I don't have the physique for that, so maybe Sorcerer or Sorcerer Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, there you go.
Honey Wizard.
Yeah,
Honey Wizard. Yeah, awesome.
Vinny Wizard.
All right,
Vinny
Wizard. You go as Vincenzo.
You can go as Vincenzo. Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh my god!
Honestly, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I should do that one. That'd be fun.
All right, we got a question from Paul asking Andy specifically, mostly, and this is what I was referring to earlier, Vince. You started thinking thinking Blurple was going to be the best deck, yet it hasn't won a major event yet that I know of. Do you still feel is the best deck, or do you still feel it is the best deck? If so, why? If not, why? What has changed your mind? And probably most importantly, if you aren't playing the best deck, why?
So, kind of talked about this a little bit, but it did win that CCQ. I'm not crazy. It was in like Spain or something.
Yeah.
We didn't get to watch as much because of the time zone, but it was a CCQ and they won, and it's been in the top. It's good. First off, second off, I'm always playing the best deck. That's like obvious. I mean, it might not actually be the best deck, but it's what I think is the best deck, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm playing it. With some exceptions, like events that have less, prizing on the line, maybe I'll have a little more fun, play some more
Play some
cards that
Boosty
are-
Boys.
Yeah, the Boosty Boys is a good deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Blurple is still a really strong contender. I have some definitely strong opinions on how Blurple is being played. That I think sort of boil down to the meta being kind of this. They call it a rock paper scissors, but it's more like there's 3 or 4, maybe 5 decks that all have this, matchup spread of I can beat these 2, or I can beat those 2, or I can beat those 2. And so you end up getting almost like this star pattern where they all
it's like
kind of
a triangle
crisscross. But there's more than 3, right? There's like 5 or so.
right. But
So
yeah,
it is really interesting. So Blurple is the best deck at certain events. I think maybe Blurple can't adapt certain metas as well. It, like, for example, trying to go against a very dogs heavy meta, they add Tigger into the deck to try and like bounce the Willow early or whatever.
You hate Tigger.
I don't think that personally. I think that is kind of a very inefficient method of dealing with problem. And you could still, have the game run out from under you with a couple Daisy Ducks and Chroma or something. So, it's I think it has a hard time, like I said, adapting to certain metas. But in other metas, I think it's still very, very strong. If there's a lot of Amethyst Steel in the room, like, I don't know if dogs wins like everything, right? And then everyone's like, oh, I'll play dogs. And then people are like, I'm going to compensate by playing Amethyst Steel because I know there's going to be a lot of dogs. And I hate seeing dogs win everything. Well, then you play Blurple and, you could potentially take down the whole thing.
Yeah.
But always find the
and
best.
all my testing so far in the last couple weeks, the chances I've got to, I've not seen a lot of Blurple anywhere that I'm testing. So, it's weird. It's the same with dogs. Like, and maybe it's a localized thing as well, where like we have a couple people who play dogs, but I just don't see it as often. I don't know. It seems like it's the boogeyman, and nobody around here is actually playing it.
What, dogs?
No, well, Blurple in this case, but
Yeah, Blurple.
I haven't played against dogs in a long time either.
We got a lot of really good dogs players. I got paired into a teammate, Grapes Andy, at Bodox last week, and I was like, probably on dogs. So I decided not to play my dogs deck because I was like, I'm not gonna have a mirror battle. And then sure enough, he was on dogs, and I was like, I should have played my dogs deck. I should have just made us have a mirror and found the end of the sea before you.
Oh, that's right. The last time I did play dogs was in the set championship before Winterspell against you at Bodax, when you had to dig deep to find that under the sea. Excuse me. But yeah. So overall, you think Blurple's still the best deck, or only if you're playing it, though, right?
No, I just think it can be the best deck in the room, but
Mhm.
Yeah,
saying
it's consistent.
there is no best deck in this meta, in my opinion. I think it's a very
Sure.
balanced meta, and so, but it is one of the decks that could be the best deck at any given meta, and it also already won a CCQ. So
Yeah.
stop putting that disrespect on Blurple.
All right.
Yep.
Unless you have a thought, Vince.
Yep. Questions for Andy. We can talk more about it in the main segment.
Sounds good.
Last question here from Jackalope Spam. He said, what card from sets 1 through 4 do you want to see get a reprint so that it could improve one of the more off-meta decks currently?
Be prepared. Next question.
We have
I mean, I agree with you, but I would say honestly, something like Brawl would be good.
Brawl was on my list.
Ew.
I got Brawl and Medusa both would just
Um,
infinitely make Ruby
Yeah.
Ruby
No, it
better.
wouldn't.
I think Ruby's move from being more removal to being more damage matters, which it isn't fully that, but that's like very
Yeah, it's also strength matters as I've been
strength matters.
playing.
So it's like it's got it's a very but it is definitely what it's not is a hard removal ink color like
Yeah.
it was. And I think giving it the tools to have more hard removal would be honestly just how you like think healthy for the meta.
But Brawl and Medusa are both strength matters removal, not hard. Like they're only hard removal.
They're conditional
Yeah,
removal.
conditional.
Yeah.
And they're that strength matters kind of thing. Because and I don't think those improve your matchup here because right now you already have 2 cards. Sure, they're less efficient than maybe Brawl or Medusa, but you have Horseman and the Grab Your Bow, right? Or Little Sisu. Plus you
Little
have
Sisu's been
right.
an
Plus you
MVP
have
in my
options
deck,
for shrinking strength in 2 different ink colors, Sapphire and Amber. And so like
So what about Big Sisu then? What about bringing
Big Sisu would be huge because that's an entire board wipe. And now in like with Amber, you could play like Lost in the Woods, the like Wish.com PETA.
in Big Sisu? Well, no, it's not a song, so that wouldn't work. I was gonna say you could sing Raging Storm, but Raging Storm's an action, not a song.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that was
Tamatoa or Hades sing "Be Prepared" before was like.
I do think that was actually
that's
a smart
not fair
design decision there in some ways.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah, I think really Ruby has gotten the real short change of rotation.
But it's getting better. I have so many games on Amber Ruby right now, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's not, of course, 100% no deck is, but like the more that I play it, the more I'm like, this is my deck for this set, and I haven't made barely any changes to it whatsoever. And I gotta give a shout out to Wonderful because it was his decks that I started with and then transitioned over to, and just put a few extra, like the Grab Your Bow was a card that I really liked in the song version of it, and I'm just. It's been so much fun. And like I said, with the strength based stuff, it's strength up and down in different ways makes it fun in a lot of matchups. I've had some really, really fun matchups with it that really, really enjoying. But
I think having the board, do you play Raging Storm?
I don't, but I've been considering it. It's hard to slot in because it's rare that I'm up to the ink cost to play that. Most of the time my high ink stuff like the Dragon or Stitch or whatever else is up there in the 7 to 9 range is helped by having a tree out, to get it out a little bit sooner. So
you're also
occasionally
you're also
have ink, but
I was gonna say you're also not drawing very many cards too.
You'd be surprised. Be surprised with Ohana.
Yeah, if they turn stuff sideways and you get a big Ohana or whatever, and then Stitch, right? But the idea is like if you can board wipe them, and that's why like B prep I think would change the meta a lot because it would give the board wipe to Ruby, especially with the Ruby singers though. That would be even. That might be too broken.
Powerline,
right?
Just finding Powerline, finding it for free. Yeah,
that might be even too gross, right? But the idea being that like now you have cards like Horseman, which can be really good removal, but is also just a good card to play to the board and quest and gain lore. Plus, Amethyst I think would be the biggest pairing, obviously, and you'd get all the card draw that comes with it. But any deck that plays with Ruby now has the opportunity to Ruby Sapphire to like just wipe the board and start over, hopefully in a better position than their opponent because they've ideally drawn more cards or have the best cards left in their hand,
Yeah. One other, or go ahead, Vince, before I move on.
No,
Me?
please go.
Yeah, one other card that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about since Nick is talking specifically about off-meta decks was Gaston, Intellectual Powerhouse. That card was so much fun in the Amber Sapphire deck that I was running in Reign of Jafar with Down in New Orleans, and we now know that Down in New Orleans is going to be a promo card at Continentals later on this year.
Championship.
So I want to, yeah,
NA
right?
championships. It's not called
That's what I said.
Continentals.
Okay, well, sorry,
It
not
never was.
NA
Bernstein
Championships.
Bears.
Yeah. but we know that's gonna be a promo. I want to build around it because it's such a fun deck to play, especially when Naveen can come out thematically, sing Down in New Orleans, find Gaston, and do a looking at 3 and take 1 or whatever. A big develop your brain. That card was pivotal in that matchup. So or in that color pairing with what you're doing with Down in New Orleans, finding that 6-cost character, a 4/4, look at 3 cards, take 1. And it's still to this day, 12 sets later, my favorite probably subtitle in the game for Gaston. Intellectual Powerhouse is hilarious to me. So bring that card back too, please. We even had a pin. We had a pin for it.
My favorite.
We don't have that card in rotation.
Favorite subtext of any card in the game?
Yeah.
Rabbit.
He wants that Merlin Rabbit. Yeah.
Bring back Merlin Rabbit. Hashtag bring back Merlin Rabbit. Put it in the comments. We get 15 million comments in here that say bring back Merlin Rabbit. I'll talk to Greg Tito.
Yeah, get him on the line. All right. Any other questions?
That's it. That's it for this week. If you guys would like your questions answered, please feel free to comment below. Join our Discord in the Constituents Corner channel where a lot of conversations happen before they make the air, or find us on the socials at Rules of Villainy, and we'll get your question on here and talk about it. Back to you, Vince.
Thank you. All right, let's get into it. We've only got like 3 weeks before
my wedding.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's coming up.
Easy.
But also set championships.
Set champions. Yep, yes. And why are we gonna play Blurple, Andy? Because it's the best deck, right?
It really depends. Like I said, it depends. I think currently, like, so Kirsten and I and several other teammates are all preparing for 5K out in Louisville through the decades. Kirsten and I have been out there before for their last tournament they had, and it was a great time. So I know we got a couple other teammates and some friends as well that are probably traveling out there. So looking forward to that part, but I'm trying to basically figure out which what the meta is going to look like there, because personally I would love to play Blurple. It's my it's the deck I feel the most comfortable on. It hasn't changed much, if at all. It has a few good tools into certain matchups, in my opinion. But like I mentioned before, I think it does have a hard time. It didn't get anything new and great deal with the dogs problem. Essentially, the fact that they're not really turning anything sideways. You could say Isis kind of works. The Ice Queen of Vanderquack or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're on the play, that can kind of work. You have to have the 1-drop, and you have to hit that. It's an uninkable. Sven is another one that can help you if you're like really dealing with tough like Daisy Ducks. But you're still very vulnerable to Under the Sea. And so then you say like, okay, well, maybe we get rid of a couple genies and we play more Iagos, which I think is something DKP was doing. And you say, I've even seen people play, I think it was second place at Taipei. It was Blurple. I think Ed beat Blurple in the finals, and he was playing the 4/6 Demona. Which is with Challenger +2, right?
Challenger plus
Imagine
2.
her with Rush.
Ooh, yeah, man. But if only there was an item that I could pay 3 costs for to do that. So great. Might as well just play Cogsworth at that point.
But you also got Let It Go back though, right? I wanted to make sure you mentioned that one because that was it was only 2 in the second place deck in Taipei, but I feel like just having
Let It
that
Go is
song
great.
back too is incredible.
Like I
And
kind
Belle
of
made her appearance back too.
Yeah,
Two of
I want to
them.
kind of talk about that. We got Belle back in this. We already talked about Iago potentially making an appearance again. But also this set 11 winter spell card Swordplay, which is a 1-cost action. Chosen character gains Challenger +3 this turn. There are 2 of them in that deck.
I prefer the other one, Hypnotic Strength.
Hypnotic Strength.
I'd rather pay 1 more and get a card.
But you get a card, yeah.
If you're really daring, you could play was it Helping Hand, the 1-cost uninkable. So give support, draw a card. That's a pretty good one. But yeah, it is dodging a lot of dogs, right? I think you still kind of just lose to the really aggro portion of dogs, but you can replace things like your genies. But then you say, okay, let me get rid of some Dumbos then, and now your draw engines are Demona, or your guidebook is the best one. You can just pay 3, draw 2. Then you've got 2 genies. You've got Demona, but now your opponent gets to draw 2 because your opponent has, been playing, off the top almost because they're dogs. They have 1 card left in hand. And you have no way to deal with a wide board. You play Purple Hades, right? What are they going to do? They're just going to say draw 2 cards. Right? I've got a wide board.
He's not running Purple Hades.
He's not running Purple Hades at all?
Mm-mm.
Oh, in the second place deck?
In the second place deck, yeah. Sorry, DKP might be, but Mr.
Yeah, he's running the Bell.
Yeah.
I actually really like the third place deck because I kind of like this. He's got a 4-2 split when it comes to Into the Unknown to Let It Go. So 4 Into the Unknown to Let It Go. And I actually like the reverse of that, which is 2 Into the Unknown and 4 Let It Go. Just because I think Let It Go is so.
4,
I know you like 4 of each.
4.
But I.
How much ink?
I like that split. I mean, the Bell Accomplished Mystic is nice, partly because it. But Cheshire Cat also does, which is kind of gets around the Under the Sea. But I don't know. I mean, it is still really, it is vulnerable to that, and it's really hard to fix that without, because I don't think there's no like Lumiere for Amethyst. A card that just gives extra strength.
Yeah.
Character on board. Which would be such a clutch kind of play. I don't know. And I kind of feel with you about the Tigger. I do like the Tigger. I'm not convinced 4 of them is the right answer. I think that's too many probably. But I do think it really is helpful in the matchup against Amethyst Steel because it can help
bounce that Calhoun, baby.
Yeah, we bounce the Calhoun, so you can get some value out of it, but you can also really put them on tilt by making that strength less valuable come turn 4.
So here's the problem, though, right? I think I've worked through this. I had this problem. If they're on the play, it's Hook, and then you play like Rafiki, right? And then they play Calhoun, and then you ramp. Maybe you even get another character out. You get a Royal Guard or a Basil out. That's fine. Then they play Cheshire Cat, right? And then you play Tigger and you bounce their Calhoun back. Now, pass the turn, their turn. If they already had the strength, which is what you were afraid of in the first place, they're guaranteed to be able to just play Calhoun and sing strength with the Cheshire Cat and take out your 4/3 Tigger. And it's like womp womp, you know. Same with that's the same problem I have with Iago. Well,
No,
like
but I'll be honest, that's a trade I'm kind of fine with because I don't really know that I care that much that you take out the Tigger. I care much more that you use your strength to take my genie out. And so I think that's actually a trade that's like a value where it's like I'm like, great, now I've got one strength less I have to worry about in your deck.
Yeah, the
And
Calhoun can't challenge that turn either. So
yeah. So
you're saving
honestly,
yourself a little bit of lore, but I don't know
but
in the
now
grand
they
scheme
have
of things.
yeah, but now they still have their full board. Unless you hit both 1-drops, you can't retaliate into the Cheshire. But if you did hit, you'd have to either
to run
question
both. Yeah.
or run both of them in to take your Cheshire because like you can't leave that on the board. And whatever they sang with basically. And then
yeah, but now you're putting it back
now
to
you're on
me.
Hades or
Turn
Elsa's
5.
turn.
I could play Elsa.
Yeah, Elsa or Hades. Elsa's
Yeah.
not taking out the Calhoun though.
Well, not by itself.
Yeah, but
But
so even if you had a Basil,
you
you're
could
still looking at Calhoun or Cheshire, right? Because we were about to run both of them in for
yeah,
the
you're gonna choose the
Cheshire,
cat almost every time.
and the Calhoun's gonna lose to the.
But I just ultimately like I think what ends up happening the thing that I like about this in a lot of respects though is that what we're talking about is board interaction. And Tigger is forcing that board interaction here in a lot of ways. That generally what ends up happening is you end up in this kind of like stalemate until somebody decides, you know what, I'm either gonna quest or it's like I can play, a card like Elsa to, try to do some trades. So now you're really the setup with Tigger forces you into board. I think forces the Amethyst Steel player into board interaction earlier than they would prefer. And like I said, I think the value trade of just getting rid of that strength so early on a Tigger is so much better than it taking out a genie. I mean, granted, I'll be honest with you, most Blurple players, and I think you probably agree with this, is that you almost always in a matchup, whether it's against Amethyst Steel or a Blurple Mirror, maybe even like a aggro, like a Amber Steel, you almost are guaranteed that anytime that when you play that genie on turn 4 that it's going the next turn. You're pretty much prepared.
Yeah, and I like
I mean, I can't tell you how many games that I've been like, wait, like prepared to take the genie off the board.
Oh yeah, especially as a
turn 5.
especially as a new Ruby player this set. It's like that Horseman is looking for that genie every single time, or the Horseman strikes, or whatever other tools that I have in my Amber Ruby. But that I like that you bring up the Tigger bait, because that's something I used to do with Iago actually on 4, because everybody's looking to play, or on 4 Ink is play that genie, get that draw, replace itself, and continue on, get established that evasive. But for a while I would favor putting out the Iago first, just especially in that matchup, to bait out that strength, and then my genie might be safe the next turn. But then I'm a turn behind, because now this is my 5-drop where I should be dropping Elsa or Belle or something else, So it really depended on the matchup and how I was feeling, and if I even had the tools to do it. But I would sometimes throw out that Iago, in a way to hopefully protect my genie, further into the game. But
the way I see it is like, especially with Blurple, you often don't really have the luxury or don't want to spend the resource of getting behind by baiting out a spell.
Yeah.
You sort of just force them to have it, and you play your game plan and say, if you interrupt this, it'll still keep sort of moving along, right? Just like, if you played the genie instead of the Tigger, and then they play the extra character and they strengthed it, and then you have the Elsa, your Elsa can still take out like the hook, something like that. You can still get like a nice freebie or whatever. And then, you're trying to make them run out of cards, and you can play like your Hades on their Cheshire. And now, if they're smart, they put it on the bottom, but maybe you get 2 extra cards out of it. Now your hand is growing bigger, but you're able to, keep characters on the board. So for me, I really want to try testing and have like, 0 days by the time you guys are seeing this, but only a day and a half by the time we're recording this until this 5K. But I really like the 4-cost Demona 4/6. It's very similar to like the Mayor Wind Dancer in Steel, where it's this card that you can play that basically shuts down the strength of Raging Fireline, right? It is not able to be Elsa'd and take out, I guess maybe an Into the Unknown, but it doesn't. It's the same stat line
Requires
as
2
an
cards
Iago.
out of hand.
Yeah. Problem though is just like it doesn't hit evasives, which you kind of want to be able to do. But yeah, it's an interesting card because. So yeah, I don't like Tigger because Tigger doesn't really guarantee you anything. It's supposed to help delay the dogs doing their thing and stop them because it's got 4 strength and stuff. But I think that card is really, really bad and in almost every single other matchup. Matchups that you would normally have been winning, like Mirrors and Amethyst Steel.
Tigger's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
If only his ability allowed you to bounce a 3-cost or lower. I think then we'd be playing with house money.
That'd be pretty nice.
That would not be a common card. That would
No,
would be
I don't think it
that would be a
common
super
card.
rare or something if he was hitting three costs.
Would he be
Particularly
would you say he'd be
because then-
epic?
Oh,
Oh.
I see what you did there.
Got
Yeah, but because then he would be hitting things like Chromacon too, which would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Is Tigger just characters or
No, it's items or locations. It's anything, I think. 3-cost or 2-cost or less. Sorry.
Bell is
item
another
location
one
or character,
in
yeah.
Blurple though that is a card that I want to include, but it's really tough because you have to have damage on things. We're in a very, there's a lot of the higher the quality of play that you're competing in, the less likely someone is going to give you the opportunity to make like a good value, right? Your opponents, you can't expect them to be like, well, I'm gonna quest, even though they've got a Calhoun and they can just take this out for free, right? Like, and even not just that obvious, but like these other situations, they're gonna say, well, I'm not going to do this because you could have a go-go in your hand. You could have this card in your hand, and if you do, that's really bad for me. And so I'm gonna play around all of these outs that you could possibly have. You have to expect your opponent to do that, and Cheshire Cat's already usually at a 3 of, I think, in Blurple, especially because 3 is a really weird spot for a deck that's ramping on 2, and Bell is just another way. Like, you have to have something stick, have to get some damage, and then you could potentially move it, and I don't think you're hitting. The difference between 2 and 3 damage is, I don't think, meta significant at the moment.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how the tides have shifted where like when Cheshire came out 2 sets ago, we were like, Bell, we love Bell. And now it's like, can we work Bell back in over the Cheshire Cat?
What I like trying to work in is more card draw.
Yeah.
Thinking about either Second Star or Finders Keepers. Bro, I'm
Finders Keepers. Haven't seen that card in a while.
bro, I'm drunk on draw power. All right, I like it's. I just want
Finders
more of it.
Keepers as a one of. I could see Second Star. I think I would.
Yeah,
It seems like it's too
greedy.
Too greedy and too like I don't know if greedy is the right word. It used to be a couple sets ago, like you could set up for it almost perfectly and get to sing it every time. But now in the way that how fast the game is, especially with dogs, like you need to use those cards to control more than you do need to draw, right? You don't want to be turning them sideways to sing for 5 new cards when
it's for the control mirrors, really.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess in that particular matchup, you're not looking for that card really ever. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't played Blurple in a while to even know if that was worth considering. I'm sure you have a lot more time on it.
I don't know. I want to play it, but it feels kind of, you know.
You got a couple days to try it.
Yeah, I've seen people testing that. I've tested both of those a little bit. But yeah, personally, we could, this is a good transition. Segue, Baja won Taipei. Ed, arguably the GOAT of Disney Lorcana. Some may say DKP. Some may say it's Zach Bivens or me or, anyone else that plays the game. Zan is very good. Lots of great players out there. But, he won Taipei. I think a lot of people love that deck. It is a very, sort of high adrenaline deck. You do essentially nothing for several turns. You then wipe the board. Then you wipe their Inkwell. And then you laugh at them while they have 20 cards in their hand but can't play anything. And they're stuck at 17 lore, and you just go from 2 lore all the way up to 20.
What's gross is playing Sail before that Geyser.
Yeah,
so they can ink twice and already be back up to 5 ink ahead of you, right? And then they're just playing 3 ink ahead of you the rest of the game, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
but,
I mean they've got access also to Cinderella too.
And they also just board wiped you with a Prince Philip, most likely. So
yep,
you have yep.
It's bad. It can go downhill really, really bad. Before we fully transition, one thing I just want to bring up so that you're aware of. So I was looking through the deck list here. The 10th player at Taipei had 2 second stars in his deck, or in their deck, but also had 2 wasabis.
Wasabi
card.
I'm testing wasabi. It for me, it kind of lured me in with 2 things. One, it's evasive on your turn. That's not alert. It's evasive on your turn, so it works with Dumbo. And I'm kind of the opinion that because Baja is so prevalent, Blurple, if it just goes back to classic Blurple things, might be able to beat out other Blurple in the mirrors, and it might be able to beat out Baja in the mirrors, and you just hope you don't get paired into dogs at all. Actually, I heard the strat is you tie your first round, and then you just don't play dogs the rest of the tournament, because you know who doesn't tie games? Dogs players. Dogs decks don't tie games.
So Andy's strategy going into game 1 is he's gonna win game 1
and then stall for
game 2 and then take forever in game 3. I'm so sorry. This is such a hard decision.
Let the record show that this is all joking. We do not condone this behavior.
But yeah, in my opinion, going back to the sort of classic Blurple, with full Dumbies, full Genies, maybe a little less Iagos or something like that. Wasabi gets value off of the Dumbo by being evasive on your turn. And I guess like if you're really having a rough time with a Chromacon, it can be helpful. You can also snipe the Ruby Amber Boosty Boys deck, the Webby's Diary, which is actually incredibly crippling and makes for a really tough control mirror. It can also snipe the Cauldron, which is another big one for Sapphire Amber, which is another sort of tough control mirror that you're going against. So it's an all around decent card. Oh, and the final icing on top is that, and I've actually done this before in testing, you can play a guidebook and then play a Wasabi on your own guidebook, gain 1 lore, and get an instant. So you now have it's a 2-card combo, but you have a 1 instant lore out in Blurple. And I've done it before. All right. Don't laugh at me. All right. It is doable.
Bring that to Bodax tomorrow night. I want to see it.
It's honestly, it's
second
actually
star in there,
really
too.
good. It's a decent strategy. For one,
It's like your spell book, Vince.
DKP and I talked about that in particular at Melbourne. So
The Wasabi. Yeah.
Nice
the Wasabi getting that, because basically it becomes a goat for you. Essentially.
Was that in the VIP lounge that you were talking to DKP?
It was in the VIP lounge. Yes. I am a very important person.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the thing with the Baja deck in particular is it just has the tools. I do think it is one of those decks that requires a lot of practice to get because it isn't a deck that I don't think plays itself. I also don't think Blurple's a deck that plays itself either, to be fair. I think these are decks that do need a lot of practice. But in particular, one thing I do like about the Baja deck, I haven't played a lot of it, but is the ability that it has through things like Develop and Vision to find the tools that it can need to put together its combos, which makes them like just a little bit more likely, like increasingly likely to occur. And so it's just something you got to be aware of when you're on the other side of the table. It's like it could feel like you're in a really, really good position, but it can very, very quickly turn against you. With like just some sales, some visions, the next thing you know, they could also, the other option too is they can You're Welcome their own card on board to try to draw cards too. They don't just have to use it to put more cards in your hand to get that value out that Clarabelle. But it is just one of those decks that has a lot of tools to be able to find the pieces that it needs. I mean, again, too, Cinderella being able to ink at the end of the turn to be able to draw a card. So they're being able to kind of scry through their deck to find all the pieces to all the combos they need.
Must be nice to have Cinderellas.
I
only have one.
If my opponent You're Welcome is their own character, while Vince is absolutely right, that could basically just lead them to winning the game, right? They could have put some of their important pieces on the bottom, and now they're shuffling their deck, and they have a much cleaner statistical chance of getting these cards they need. Going through your deck is necessary for Baja. However, if my opponent does that, my heart rate is definitely dropping a little bit. Like I'm cooling down. I'm like, okay. They're getting a little bit desperate, a little bit. They're getting there. We're doing our job. We're putting the pressure on. So I played Pearson with Baja today testing. And I'll tell you, I went through 3 vision, 2 develop, full sales in there. Plus all the card draw for turn. for me, it's really, really hard to have hand size large enough to be able to do all of the pieces of the puzzle. So if you play a turn 1 and then you ramp on turn 2 and then you Cindy on turn 3, those are all extra cards off your, and now you still need to then find a turn to play Small Prince Philip and also hold Big Prince Philip and Malicious Penis Scary in your hand. And it's just really, really tight on, you have to throw away cards that are potentially important to the combo.
I think that's right. I think one of the challenges and why it can be such a challenge in the Blurple matchup in particular is that one of the key ways in which Blurple can removes characters inks your opponent, and in a lot of matches that's not the worst thing that can occur, but in this particular matchup it is like the worst thing that can occur. And it's like yeah, please give me ink. And especially because of things like Ink Geyser, where it's like you could, you can get rid of, say, their Prince Philip or their Clarabelle, but now they Ink Geyser and they can get those cards right back into their hand. And so they basically like get another crack at the apple. So, it's like you could think that you've dealt with this, but aha, no, you haven't. And whereas it is much more unlikely as a Blurple player, you're going to have the exact same removal options, because something like, Hades is not inkable. So it's not going to be in your Inkwell unless you've T-poed it away. Maybe you've inked things like Let It Go. Maybe you've inked things like an Into the Unknown because you've needed to, but those are generally cards that like you want to use and not ink. You really only want to ink those, if you need to, or you just don't have the options. So I
was just checking to see if Baja, or at least Ed's Baja, ran the Moana, because the play line, as you're talking about,
No.
ramping back up with it, it doesn't,
No
of
Moana.
course, but I was wondering if it could, and obviously no changes need to happen here, but can I? Never mind.
Okay.
All right,
I'm joking. I was joking. Sorry.
But like the fact that like you can now ink the sales that you've played already with Moana from the discard, and then Ink Geyser and get those sales back and ramp up even faster. When you, like Andy said, you'll have a handful of like 20 cards and just keep playing sale over and over again. Then suddenly you're up in that territory where you can just drop, big bombs because you're, double the ink of what your opponent has by just recycling the sales that you got from the Ink Geyser. So
Okay.
I thought that sounded interesting, but
You're convincing me.
it's Christmas Dreamland. But
maybe we get rid of some perfect gentlemen. We get rid of some perfect gentlemen, and we try and find some room for Moana in there, which helps with our hand size a good bit.
Moana also triggers again Cindy too, right?
Yeah. So I'll buy the Moana from you, but you need to sweeten the deal here, and you need to sell me. I need some hard card draw here. Can you help me draw? Like, I really want to just fatten my hand with cards.
A card I think
it's Ink Geyser's your draw.
Well, yeah, I think Ink Geyser does, and I like have that mechanic for it. I wonder if there's a way in which you could add a dig a little deeper in this, because I feel like that just like, because you dig, it's like you dig 7, right, and you draw 2.
You shift Philip and you sing it for free. Like it's gross.
Yeah.
And so I mean it's uninkable though. So
yeah,
that would be rough. You're right.
So the
uninkables right now
would be pretty rough. But that would be the card I think I would, if I were playing with, I'd want to test, is dig a little deeper. Because I think that just gives you, because to you, Andy, to your point, I think actually that is one of the fundamental flaws of this deck is that you can run out of cards to put your pieces together. So you are doing things more desperate, like playing your welcome on yourself. But if you could have a way in which I can dig into my deck, pull 2 cards, and search, and those 7 cards, I could put together a combo piece. That's kind of huge, and I think like could potentially up your chances, your win rate more. But I do wonder though, if with the uninkable count, it probably makes the deck worse overall.
Well, he is running 4 Under the Sea. Ed is, and I as
Seems like too many.
amazing as that card can be, with no ability to reduce their strength whatsoever, I think it's really only good into 1.5 matchups, really, which is dogs
And
and
Amber
then
Steel.
kind of Amber Steel, kind of.
Yeah.
Right, some of their more important characters like the Angel, the Goliath, the Rhino, potentially
Pow.
the Pow Pow are all not really affected by that. And those decks don't really pressure a lot of, lore so much as they do trying to control a little bit more in pieces rather than just singing together under the sea. So maybe you can reduce some of those, which would lower your uninkable count. Maybe add some room for something like a dig a little deeper. I'm potentially on board for that.
Yeah.
What about isn't there the blue King Candy?
There is a Sapphire King Candy, but
Is
I
he
don't
still in
remember what
rotation? Sapphire King Candy?
I think so, because Wreck-It Ralph came late. I think he came in Shimmering Skies, actually.
King Candy. It's a 5-cost, shift 3, 5-cost 3/3. The quest for 2 is really, really bad, actually, but it's uninkable as well. But when you play
Didn't
this
you run that as a
character-
1 of Spice in one of your old decks?
Yeah, when you
that,
play
that
this
might be
character,
adjusted.
when you play this character, you may draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So that's pretty decent. It's like strike a good match on a body. A really bad body, I assume, but
Hey,
yeah,
he's
it's
sensitive.
something.
But hey, you know what though? You know what you can do? You can right now go to partner.dcgplayer.com/ROV and get this card, this very specific card, as an enchanted for $21. Which I think that's actually a pretty great deal. And what's great about this is that if you use that partner code for us, it won't cost you an extra dime. You get a great card and you support the podcast that you love.
And Andy will tell you, he'll thank you for using the link, but also tell you it's a bad card.
No, I mean, like,
so if you want that on your conscience.
How'd you like that? How'd you like that for a segue into an ad read?
Ad read.
I'm just trying to think of how, what might make Baja a little bit better, but ultimately Baja doesn't really care.
More Mufasa, baby.
I don't know. Baja seems to be doing well. Baja doesn't seem like maybe it's the player, maybe it's me and playing the deck.
I've seen Mufasa, blue Mufasa played in like Amber Sapphire quite a bit.
Yeah.
You can do some really nasty things with that.
He a big boy.
And so you wipe the board and then you play that the next turn, and then the following turns you can just flood the board with a bunch of cards. It's a whole other thing, that deck, but yeah, the real thing with Baja with INK GEYSER, I think, is previously it had Bend to My Will. We saw it in the finals with Sky versus Fungus, where whoever sort of got to that pivotal Bend to My Will moment where they're able to say, okay, you lose all of the cards in your hand, and then wipe the board and say, okay, now you've lost everything, right? This same sort of thing can be accomplished without the Bend to My Will in a much, much cheaper package with the Ink Geyser, essentially.
Yeah.
You wipe their board, and then you play Ink Geyser, and now they have like 20 cards in hand. They are very crippled
can't
with
do anything
cards in
with them.
hand. But yeah, they cannot do anything. And as long as you have a strong board when you play Ink Geyser, you just run away with the game, and there's like absolutely nothing they can do to come back. You know what are you gonna do in any deck, Brad? You pick any card you want. You have 4 ink, and there's a 6/6 evasive that quests for 3 on my board. What are you gonna do?
I'll play Slushy and just hope that I pull a Lumiere on the next.
Yeah, Slushy and Lumiere. I think your only maybe best option would be King Undisputed, maybe if they were the only character on the board, which would not be the greatest Ink Geyser, so I wouldn't even recommend that. But say Into the Unknown, sure. But there's very, very few answers that are out there. And then you also have to take into account that the idea is you build a big board. Maybe you've got a Cindy, maybe you've got a Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman out there. Maybe you've got a Clarabelle as well. Like if you're able to develop an early Clarabelle or something.
Maybe I got a Lumpy.
But you then do the combo, right? Wipe their board, play the Ink Geyser. And so it's not just this, Prince Philip that you have to answer, but it's maybe a Clarabelle, maybe, a 2/5 quest for 2 is even hard to deal with with 4 ink, right? So it can really, really lock the game out.
Yep. Well, I think that's a good place to end it to get into our fan favorite segment here.
Villain of the week.
All right, take it away, Mr. Mayor.
Apologies to Gantu. Our villain of the
All
week
hail.
this week is a 3-cost uninkable action called, you guessed it, Ink Geyser. Each player exerts all the cards in their Inkwell. Then each player with more than 3 cards in their Inkwell returns cards at random from their Inkwell to their hand until they have 3 cards in their Inkwell. This is a rare card illustrated by Kevin Siddhartha, and it is from set 7, Arcasia's Island.
I feel
This
like we've
card-
already said everything about it. Does anybody
Pretty
have
much.
anything?
Well,
This card was
anything else to
controversial.
add?
yeah,
When
I
it
think-
came out, or when it was revealed, this card was controversial amongst the community. I think RMB, our friend RMB from Team Maelstrom, was very adamant that this card was bonkers, and now it's finally getting its due with Ed showcasing it with a Taipei win in the deck, where it just obliterates everything we've said already. It obliterates your Inkwell and just says, all right, try to catch up to me. It is gross.
Yeah. I think one thing we didn't really talk about with this card in particular is really emphasizing its dual ink nature.
Mhm.
So it only fits on this particular ink pairing. And as a result, I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's taken some time to find some competitive viability there. But yeah, real honestly, I'll tell you what, when I was in Melbourne and I heard about this deck, because that's kind of where it really first made its major appearance on the competitive scene. I was like, man, Ink Geyser, really? Like that card, I was like thinking about Andy. I was like, that card's jank. That card's bad. But clearly I don't know enough about that particular matchup because it's done really well. It did really well in Melbourne, that deck did. It didn't win the tournament because I think that was won by dogs. But it still did really, really well in the tournament. It did well in Taipei.
It won in Taipei.
It did.
I just want to say, I think Ink Geyser might be in the contention for most complicated card. I think it's worded very well from a rules perspective. I think reading the card explains the card very perfectly. Like they did a great job writing it out.
A lot of cards do, I'll say.
But that is a lot of text, mate.
As I
Right.
was reading it, I was like, this doesn't feel good to read. Like, I know
There's a
exactly what it
lot
does,
going
but as
on.
I'm reading it, like, ugh. But very clearly, it says what it does, and it obliterates the Inkwell and just changes the game. But yeah, any other thoughts before we move on to the artist showcase?
Artist showcase.
All right, Kevin has 8 cards in Disney Lorcana, including, of course, Ink Geyser. 1 legendary that is the Return of Hercules, that is in action from a few sets ago. That allows each player to play a character for free. Haven't seen that come, into a competitive deck yet, but it's been a lot of fun. 1 former villain of the week in Calhoun, Marine Sergeant. So we have talked about Kevin's work before, and probably the most important card in the repertoire here is the Horned King. We got a Horned King, guys. The 1-drop, 2/2. Love me some Horned King.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. Also, as we teased, like in the last episode I was on, we are working on putting together, it is a me thing, on me, not these two, so you can't blame them. It's only on me, is editing a video that I had with the creators of the 3 Wishes format that was debuted on the I guess kind of Lorecast that was on JDZ's channel for DLC Melbourne. And so I hope to talk a little bit more about that for next week. But let us know your thoughts on Villain of the Week. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you really should. We have a lot of fun over here. You get to see the mayor bust out laughing. Funny sometimes. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified of everything. Look, he's doing it right now. He's doing it right now. That's what I'm talking about. You can't hear him in the audio, but you can see him in the video. Right? Be sure to check out all of our.
Yeah, subscribe if you want to hear me laugh, guys. We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending some of it with us. If you'd like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, you can find us on all the socials at Rules of Villainy. We also have a growing community on Discord, which you can join with the link below.
Until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe heroes who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.